Hello everybody, once again to another week-long marathon of Halloween-themed superhero content. Are you excited? Halloween is my favorite time of year, and with the state of everything right now in 2020, I think some escapism is just what we need, if only for a short while. If I can help relieve some of the craziness going on out there in some way, with my insignificant little online videos, then so be it. Let's ride it out together. For the past 2 years during Halloween, I have reviewed installments of the long-running Marvel Zombies metaseries that feature storylines centering around a zombie outbreak affecting heroes and villains within the Marvel Universe. There are plenty more entries left to go in the Marvel Zombies series, a lot more actually, and I plan on getting to each and every one of them at some point in the future. But this year, I wanted to take a break from Marvel Zombies, instead tuning my attention to the folks over at DC, and look at a zombie storyline they released in 2019 entitled DCeased. How clever. It centers around a corrupt version of the anti-life equation, which infects the Earth's population with a deadly zombie-like virus. It's got just the right amount of crazy I like in storylines like these. What more could you ask for? So, without further delay, let's sit back and explore the undead world of DCeased. The story begins recalling the events from 1 week ago. The Justice League had fought off a planetary invasion of Earth led by Darkseid. They tell the evil new god, Darkseid, to never return, but he leaves willingly, telling them he has what he came for. Though that last statement confuses the heroes, they don't have much time to think it over, as Batman informs them that he had placed a tracker on their teammate Cyborg, and that he is nowhere to be found in the galaxy. He's missing. We then cut to the planet of Apocalypse, where Cyborg is being tortured by Darkseid's follower, DCeased. He explains that Darkseid is after the other half of the anti-life equation, which gives its controller all dominion over free will. When Cyborg asks where the other half of the equation is, Darkseid enters to reveal that it is inside of him. After a smartass remark, Darkseid has DCeased remove Cyborg's tongue. DCeased then tells his master that the mother box he has brought him, holding Darkseid's half of the equation, will fuse with the half contained within Cyborg's body. However, the merger may kill him, and if that happens, the anti-life equation will cease to exist. To remedy this issue and ensure that Cyborg survives the ordeal, Darkseid activates the Mother Box and summons the Black Racer, an avatar of death itself. DCeased and Darkseid then corrupt the anti-life equation by injecting a part of death into Cyborg, which doesn't seem like the brightest of ideas. The corrupted equation's power becomes too much for Darkseid, and he is driven mad and violent by it. Sensing something might be wrong, yeah, no shit, DCeased sends Cyborg back to Earth via a boom tube. Darkseid then dives into the fiery pits of Apocalypse and unleashes a powerful blast of his Omega beams, which explodes the planet, killing himself and everyone on it. What an insane introduction to this storyline. It's already off the fucking rails. Cyborg lands in Metropolis, and before he can do anything, the anti-life equation's virus begins corrupting technology. It's a techno-organic virus that passes from digital devices to biological matter, and within minutes, human beings become infected by it, trying to claw it out of their own minds before it entirely enslaves them. Superman arrives after hearing the screaming hordes of people and realizes what is happening to them. He rushes to his apartment to destroy all the screens that make his family vulnerable to the virus, their phones and even video games. It'll rot their minds. What a typical parent, am I right? Batman sees the chaos happening in Metropolis from inside the Batcave and orders the Batcomputer to run on a local internet signal to prevent from getting infected, at least as of right now. The Batcomputer projects that 600 million people will become infected by the virus initially, and after spreading to almost every internet-connected device in the world within a few short days, billions of people will be affected by it. Hot damn! Batman then proceeds to activate an electromagnetic pulse within the entirety of Wayne Manor. It's lights out. Batman goes upstairs to check on Alfred, Robin, and Nightwing, but Grayson has seen better days. Same goes for Drake, who takes a nice chunk out of Batman's arm. The corrupted anti-life equation virus can also be transferred through blood once it has entered a biological host, so these bite wounds cannot be good. In the North Atlantic Ocean, Aquaman boards a stranded cruise ship to find all of its passengers infected with the virus, and is attacked. Robin, Damian Wayne, Superboy, Clark's son John Kent, Superman, and Lois decide to leave the apartment and go to the Daily Planet in the hopes of finding a means of communication. In Gotham City, Poison Ivy sends Harley Quinn away to find allies, and waits for her return at the Botanical Gardens. Harley goes to the hideout of Mr. J and confronts him, not realizing Joker has been infected by the anti-life equation virus. Dinah Lance, Oliver Queen, and Hal Jordan are on a camping trip. Jordan hates camping and decides to turn in for the night. As he checks his phone inside of his tent, Queen and Lance begin to literally make music together. Of course, it's not long before the tent explodes with a surge of green light, and Jordan becomes infected. Green Lantern attempts to kill Queen, but Black Canary prevents it with a deafening scream, which kills Jordan. His power ring flies off and needs to find a replacement, choosing Lance. How convenient, and she becomes the newest Green Lantern. Hearing the scream that killed Jordan, Superman arrives to get the help of Black Canary and Green Arrow. They travel to the Daily Planet, where Robin has made contact with his father, Batman. The Dark Knight explains to the other heroes that these monstrous humans are not zombies. They do not hunger, feeding on flesh. They simply spread death, steal life, are anti-living. He then goes on to tell them that his blood is infected, that he doesn't have much time, and that he is currently wearing one of Mr. Freeze's suits to slow his metabolism, which will only decelerate the spread of the virus within him for so long. Batman tells Superman that the virus is spread through digital imagery and blood, and the only way they are going to be able to stop it is by killing all those infected by it, and by somehow taking down the internet. He also explains that his time has come, that he has no way out of this. The virus is going to turn him. There is nothing he can do. Before it does, though, he tells Damian that Alfred will give him something he wants him to have, that he feels he has earned, and that he wishes he could be there to see him become a man. Batman then clutches his head, breaking the glass container around it, and begins to turn into an enslaved anti-life monster. Alfred is then forced to put him down like a sick dog. Sometime later, Alfred stands over the bodies of Batman, Nightwing, and Robin, sorry that he was unable to save them. He then climbs into the Batplane and begins his own little airstrike against the monsters in Gotham. Harley Quinn fends off an attack against Mr. J, shooting him close range with her shotgun. It's very cathartic for her, after she had put up with so much abuse from him over the years, but she doesn't have much time to enjoy it as she is confronted with the birds of prey in zombie form. Back in Metropolis, John Kent confronts Damian after the loss of his father, and Superman quickly removes all of the infected within the Daily Planet building before blocking its entrance with the giant gold globe so it can act as their shelter. A mindless Aquaman attacks the kingdom of Atlantis, turning the sea red with blood, which infects Tempest and forces Mera to flee the city. Superman goes to his home in Smallville to rescue his parents. He enters the barn, only to find his father infected with the virus. Instead of doing the unthinkable, killing him, he just leaves him, welding the storage door shut with his heat vision. He then takes his mother back to the Daily Planet to keep her safe. Captain Atom is being ordered by the US government to purge the anti-living from some of the country's worst infected areas with his atomic fire. However, an infected Ray Palmer, known as the superhero, the Atom, has shrunk down and infiltrated his body. He had previously been inside one of the anti-living monsters, doing tests, trying to learn more about the virus in the hopes of stopping it. Now he has made his way inside of Captain Atom and begins attacking his heart, infecting him also. Superman brings Martha Kent back to the Daily Planet and tells the other heroes that he must go back out and look for survivors. They worry that Superman may get infected by simply looking at a screen, but he reassures them that he has been using his X-ray vision to prevent that from happening. Superman and Dinah Lance then depart to search for any remaining Justice Leaguers, as Lois Lane uses the Daily Planet's old TV and radio channels free from the internet to broadcast a message of hope to anyone that can hear it, to heroes and villains, anyone that can join the fight back at their safe haven, the Daily Planet. In Gotham, Poison Ivy aids Harley in her battle against the infected members of the Birds of Prey, and the heroes in Metropolis face off against an anti-living Giganta whose head is blown through by Cyborg. Despite the Batplane being struck by Giganta during the fight, Alfred reaches Damian and gives him a batsuit, making him the new Batman. Cyborg then tells the heroes what we already know, that these monsters aren't zombies, but corrupted extensions of the anti-life equation that seek out and destroy life. The infected and unstable Captain Atom is in Washington, D.C., above the Capitol building, and is about to self-destruct. Superman and Wonder Woman arrive to fly him into the sky as fast as possible, in the hopes of getting him a safe enough distance away to minimize the devastation. They don't get high enough though, and as Atom explodes, he wipes out all of Washington, D.C., Baltimore, and finally Metropolis, all gone within an instant. As you could probably guess, Superman and Wonder Woman don't take it very well. Thankfully, Green Lantern surrounded everyone at the Daily Planet with a protective light construct, saving them all. Phew. Lex Luthor arrives to seemingly gloat, but instead calls a truce with Superman, and falls to his knees when he sees Metropolis in ruin. Over the next several weeks, the heroes take down the internet by destroying every major server in the country and every mass digital broadcasting device, even in outer space, so the only way the virus can spread is through people, through blood. Wonder Woman, Superman, and Queen Mera raise sections of the seafloor to add landmass to Themyscira so refugees can stay there. And in Gotham, Poison Ivy has created an impenetrable plant fortress that Batman, Green Arrow, and Green Lantern convince her to turn into a refugee safe space as well. Superman's Fortress of Solitude is turned into the new Hall of Heroes, where Lex Luthor and Cyborg work on plans for massive spaceships that they will use to transport survivors off of Earth, if it comes to that. Lex Luthor proclaims himself the smartest person on the planet, but has to double-check that Batman is dead first before doing so, one of my favorite lines of dialogue from this story. Superman is upset at the idea of abandoning the planet, and after Lex takes a shot at him, saying he's losing 2 homeworlds in one lifetime, Lois Lane proceeds to punch the miserable prick right in the nose, serves him right. She then makes him aware of the fact that they need him for his mind, and nothing else. The heroes begin construction on the arcs, as they call them, and all seems well. That is, until painful ringing can be heard inside their heads, and Luthor is impaled from behind by an infected Martian Manhunter. The Flash is attacked as well. Manhunter is set on fire and killed by Firestorm, and the Flash, now an anti-living, begins infecting more of the world at superhuman speed. Superman is forced to take him out in one of the dumbest moves imaginable in this moment. Honestly, I find this decision to be so moronic, knowing damn well the possible consequences of what he is about to do. The Man of Steel cuts the Flash off and flies right through his body, which of course not only covers him in Barry's blood, which is infected, but his torso is also punctured by a couple of Flash's fingers. So yeah, Superman is a dumbass. In his final moments, the Man of Steel speeds back to the Fortress of Solitude to tell Wally West to connect Lois, John, and his mother to the Speed Force. We then get a heartfelt farewell between Superman, Martha, and his wife and son. It's emotional, but again, I feel like all of this could have been avoided. Did Superman really have to fly through the Flash like that? Do what he did? Whatever, I digress. Anyways, Superman flies into space to deprive his body of oxygen and hopefully prevent his transformation, but of course it doesn't work. The Earth is doomed. Now, one of the anti-living, Superman returns to Earth and goes to 432 Park Avenue in New York, the largest residential building in the world, and recreates the final moments of Zack Snyder's Man of Steel, just with far less casualties, I think. Thankfully, Batman has a takedown plan for Superman. A contingency had actually been created for every major superhero in case something like this had happened, which were all given to Damian by his father in that briefcase we saw earlier. Inside is a piece of kryptonite that can be turned into a gas that will slow Superman down, but that's not enough, which leads Wonder Woman back to Themyscira to retrieve the weapon she had designed with her mother, the magical sword of Athena laced with kryptonite, fusing two of Superman's weaknesses together. The survivors of Earth pack up and begin leaving on the two arcs, which combined hold a maximum of 7 million people. This means that not everyone will fit, and some will have to be left behind. The island of Themyscira is then attacked by the anti-living Aquaman, riding the Kraken, and his mindless Atlantean horde. Green Arrow manages to take him out with a well-placed arrow shot to the head, which leads to another one of my favorite lines of dialogue from this story, fueled by the fact that Green Arrow didn't get a Batman contingency plan revealed earlier. And Batman didn't think I could be dangerous, just fired an arrow half a mile through raging winds into the brain of the undead Sea King, while he was controlling the damn Kraken. Fuck you, Batman. While the Amazons fight off their anti-living attackers so refugees can flee, Wonder Woman, Cyborg, and Green Lantern go to New York to take out the infected Superman. Combining her powerful vocals with a megaphone construct, Dinah Lance is able to stun the Man of Steel, but it doesn't last for very long. As Superman attacks the construct, trying to get to Green Lantern, Wonder Woman uses her kryptonite sword to slice and dice him. Diana is critically injured in the fight and will turn, so she passes her sword to Lance so she can finish off Superman, who has went after the fleeing Arcs. John Kent senses his father coming their way and says his goodbyes to Damian, telling him he'll be a great Batman. Superboy is going out to fight his father. The two collide in the air, or I guess space because there is no air, and are incapacitated, if only for a few moments. Guy Gardner and the rest of the Green Lantern Corps arrive as reinforcements. Took them long enough so they can quarantine the planet Earth. The corrupted anti-life equation within Superman realizes it's no match for the entirety of the Green Lantern Corps and comes up with another strategy to end life: fly directly into the sun and absorb all the energy from it. With the freezing and death of the entire solar system imminent, the Guardians and Lanterns decide to focus on the remaining survivors and take them to a new planet. Earth's time has come. Life has lost. On the planet's surface, Cyborg has trapped the now infected Wonder Woman in her lasso of truth and begins questioning the anti-life equation through her. He asks if the virus can be stopped, in which it says no. He then asks if there is a cure, and it responds yes. It reveals that the cure is within him. He is patient zero, the alpha and omega. Like a complete dumbass, Cyborg loosens his grip on the lasso to go share this information with the Arcs, and the infected Wonder Woman rips his head off and tosses it down a hole. Well, fuck. We then cut to the survivors on the Arcs, who gaze out the window at Earth 2, their new home, and believe that the monsters they have faced are now behind them. Let's hope that's the case. So that concludes 2019's DCeased. This storyline is pretty good, a lot of fun, and one you don't have to take too seriously, like a lot of spooky, monster-related stuff like this. I think its concept, centering this entire apocalyptic level virus around one that spreads from digital devices to organic matter, is pretty clever, and a unique spin on the classic zombie idea. It brings an entirely new meaning to technology rotting our minds, making mindless slaves of us all. If a virus affected us like this in the real world, spreading through messages and tweets, it would cripple the entire planet in a heartbeat. Let's not kid ourselves here. I think DCeased may be one of my favorite storylines I've looked at for my Halloween specials. Comparing it to Marvel Zombies, at least the 2 installments I've read so far, I think DCeased has a stronger premise, is executed a little bit better. Mind you, it has its fair share of problems, it's not great, and pales in comparison to another DC zombie storyline I have looked at before, Blackest Night, which remains one of my all-time favorite DC storylines period. Even taking into account the suspension of disbelief, some of the writing decisions made in this story don't make a whole lot of sense and feel a bit forced. For starters, I don't think the origin and creation of this virus feels very strong. Darkseid just materializing Black Racer like that, and him and DCeased pumping death into Cyborg and everything, it's kind of weak in my opinion, and isn't explained very well. And then you have the aforementioned stuff with Superman, and his transformation into an anti-living monster. For someone so quick to learn of what was happening, someone who was making each decision with the utmost care and precision to prevent himself from being infected, constantly using his X-ray vision and stuff like that, his choice to just fly right into the Flash to take him out made zero sense. Superman came off like a fucking moron here. I hate to say it. Cyborg had clearly spelled out the details of this virus to all of the heroes. They knew what it was. Batman had even told Superman that it spread through digital devices and through blood. So why in God's name would Superman just say fuck it and put his loved ones, all of Earth, in jeopardy like that? I think this does a huge disservice to Superman and his intelligence. Even if he wasn't punctured by parts of Flash's body, the amount of blood that sprayed on him, that could have gotten his eyes, his nose, his mouth, like, what the hell was he thinking? So stupid. I think the writer Tom Taylor just wanted to kill off both Superman and Batman, having their mantles be passed on to their sons, which is an interesting idea, and I think it worked here. It's just that Batman got a much better death than Superman did. It was written far better. Both heroes got an emotional goodbye with their children. They were both tear-jerking moments and done expertly well, but in terms of the actual demise of the heroes, Batman's was a lot more compelling to me. It made a lot more sense. But if we could give one character from this story the Darwin Award, it would have to be Cyborg, without question. After learning the cure for the virus is inside of him, he decides to look up into the sky in a complete stupor and release the lasso of truth, which allows Wonder Woman to easily rip his head off. It perplexes me why he would do that, and again, it feels like another forced moment, right at the end of the story like that. Also, why didn't anyone else think about using the lasso on one of the countless anti-living monsters to get this kind of useful information out of them earlier in the story? Why did it have to happen at the end like this? The more you think about all of this stuff, the more you question everything, the more your head begins to hurt. You get a sense that DC is setting up DCeased to be an ongoing series, just like Marvel Zombies, with future installments coming down the road. I would love to see the new Superman and Batman take on a variety of new threats on Earth 2, even checking in with some of the survivors still on Earth 1, because technically speaking, we don't know if Earth 1 was actually destroyed. It would be pretty cool. I think there is a lot of potential to expand some of these initial ideas. So that concludes my review of DCeased. Let me know what you thought of the story in the comment section down below. If you would like to support the channel, please subscribe, hit that bell icon to be notified of all future content, and head on over to patreon.com and think about becoming a financial backer if you can. Any bit helps and keeps this YouTube dream of mine alive. I want to thank you all for watching, and check back in all week long leading up to October 31st, as I have plenty more ghastly superhero content on the way. Stay tuned.